When competing with Tang San earlier, because both quickly entered the stage of soul power competition, Meng Yiran didn't use her soul-breaking blade. Meng Shu didn't quite believe that Tang San, who had just obtained this type of throwing weapon for the first time, could perform better than his granddaughter. Meng Yiran nodded to her grandfather. "Grandpa, let's begin." Meng Shu asked Tang San, "Are you ready?" Tang San nodded. Ready for throwing weapons? Of course, with his temperament, he naturally wouldn't say such words. Meng Yiran quickly attached the cloth bag in her hand to her waist clothes. The back of the cloth bag had Velcro, which could stick to any fabric, making it convenient to use. When she finished securing her cloth bag, she deliberately glanced at Tang San. Seeing Tang San holding the cloth bag with a dazed expression, he didn't look like someone who could use throwing weapons. Witnessing this scene, Meng Yiran couldn't help but feel a bit smug. Meng Shu made his move. Without moving himself, he casually threw out the 4-meter-long dragon-headed cane in his hand. A clear dragon chant sounded from the top of the cane, and the silver cane seemed to transform into a silver dragon, swiftly flying towards the large tree 20 meters away. With a muffled sound, Meng Shu's strength was just right, fully exerting the power of vibration. Without damaging the tree itself, the leaves fell like rain. Meng Yiran shouted tenderly, and both her hands simultaneously made a move. Cold lights swiftly flew out from the cloth bag in her hands. Her movements were quite nimble as she threw out all 18 soul-breaking blades in one breath. Perhaps because her heart was full of anger towards Tang San, it triggered her state. Meng Yiran clearly felt that her throwing of the soul-breaking blades today felt exceptionally good. She could be certain that every one of her soul-breaking blades accurately hit the target, and even pierced through 2 leaves. While Meng Yiran was focused on completing her throwing of flying knives, after Meng Shu's dragon-headed cane was thrown, his gaze fell on Tang San. His dragon-headed cane was a tool-type martial soul. After letting it go, he only needed to rely on soul power to retrieve it, without needing to control it deliberately. He wanted to see if this young man named Tang San could bring him some surprises again. Under Meng Shu's gaze, Tang San made a move that puzzled the formidable husband and wife. When the dragon-headed cane was thrown, he had already turned around. But he didn't turn towards the target tree. Instead, he turned his back to it. Just as Meng Yiran made her move, Tang San's hand holding the cloth bag also moved. The entire cloth bag instantly opened in his right hand, and then, it shook violently. 18 cold lights almost left their original positions at the same time. Meng Yiran's soul-breaking blades were naturally thrown straight, but Meng Shu could see clearly that Tang San's thrown soul-breaking blades all followed an arc. Throwing a flying knife in an arc already required considerable skill. But Tang San didn't even use his hand directly to control it. He simply threw it out with the cloth bag, causing all the soul-breaking blades to produce such an effect. Even the Dragon Duke Meng Shu, as a title Dolua, couldn't help but be greatly surprised. He carefully looked at the destination of Tang San's soul-breaking blades. A clattering sound filled the air as the sound of blades piercing the tree trunk intensified. The leaves in the air gradually scattered, signaling the end of the match. Meng Yiran turned her head to look at Tang San, only to see him turning around. She couldn't help but be somewhat shocked and angry. "You didn't make a move?" Tang San shook the empty cloth bag in his hand, saying, "I already made a move." Just as Meng Yiran was stunned, the formidable husband and wife had already arrived by her side. Meng Shu sighed and said, "Incredible skill. Yiran, you lost." Meng Yiran looked at her grandfather in confusion, but Meng Shu shook his head and said, "There's no need to look at the result. Let's go." "And no, I don't believe it." Without seeing it with her own eyes, how could Meng Yiran believe that her most proficient throwing weapon actually lost to Tang San, who was now almost out of strength? Ignoring her grandparents' obstruction, she ran towards the big tree as if flying. She couldn't believe that she had actually lost. Meng Shu sighed and muttered to himself, This might be quite a blow to Iran." However, it's not a bad thing for her to understand that there are always people better than oneself. Arriving under the tree, the first thing Meng Yiran saw was the flying knives she had thrown. Just as she had judged, all 18 soul-breaking blades were inserted into the trunk of the tree. Moreover, within a small range, each soul-breaking blade had at least one leaf, and in some cases, even 3 leaves. It was slightly better than her usual standard. However, as Meng Yiran's gaze moved upward and saw the soul-breaking blades with blue ribbons, her whole person fell into a daze. 18 soul-breaking blades with blue ribbons were neatly arranged on the trunk, divided into 3 rows, 6 in each row, forming the word G3. Each soul-breaking blade had a stack of leaves inserted into it, and even the depth of the blades in the tree was exactly the same. Compared to Meng Yiran's soul-breaking blades, which were unevenly inserted into the tree trunk, this contrast was too obvious. Meng Shu's voice reached Meng Yiran's ears. "A girl, admit defeat. Tang San's technique is something even I cannot achieve." Simultaneous throws, simultaneous insertions into the tree. Even with only one sound, each soul-breaking blade has pierced through 10 leaves. Moreover, when he threw them, he was completely facing away from the direction of the tree, without even looking. Such skill can only be described as incredible. Meng Yiran slowly turned around and looked at her grandfather. Although her gaze was no longer dazed, she seemed to have lost her soul. She didn't even want her own soul-breaking blades anymore, slowly walking towards her grandparents step by step. Just as Meng Shu had said, being defeated in one's most proficient ability was too much of a blow to Meng Yiran. Within 3 days, she lost to Tang San twice in a row, and each time was more miserable than the last. Her soul beasts were stolen twice. Her confidence, which she had always had, was shattered by Tang San. Tang San walked briskly to her side, his palm swept across his waist, and a steel needle sprinkled out, knocking down all the soul-breaking blades on the tree. Following their trajectory, the steel needle returned to his hand, and he collected all the soul-breaking blades one by one, wrapping them in the cloth bag. After doing all this, he quickly caught up to Meng Yiran. "Miss Meng, here are your soul-breaking blades." Meng Yiran glanced at him, and at this moment, her beautiful face looked somewhat pale. "Are you here to make fun of me?" Ong San shook his head. No. Actually, you don't need to be sad. I've been practicing hidden weapons since I was 3 years old. Although I'm not yet 13 this year, I've been practicing for a full 9 years. I've already used my full strength in the use of hidden weapons just now. That was the most exquisite technique I can currently use. Hidden weapons? Meng Yiran was attracted by this new term. Tang San handed the soul-breaking blades to her. Weapons used secretly to achieve effects, I call them hidden weapons. They shouldn't be used for competition, but as a surprise weapon to win unexpectedly. When Meng Yiran proposed to compete with him using hidden weapons, Tang San couldn't help feeling a bit amused and also somewhat kind. After all, this was the first time he had seen the appearance of hidden weapons in someone else's hands since coming to this world. Thinking back to how unintentionally he had caused her quite a bit of trouble since he first saw this girl older than himself, he felt somewhat apologetic. With the outcome already decided, he couldn't help but remind Meng Yiran a few words. He didn't want her to give up on the practice of hidden weapons because of today's setback. Meng Yiran blinked her big eyes and nodded subconsciously. Tang San smiled slightly. Just now, I was able to accurately hit without looking with my eyes, which is a basic skill in using hidden weapons. It's called listening to sound to determine position. Use hearing to discern the target's position. When encountering poor lighting or inappropriate angles, the eyes cannot see the accurate position of the target, and hearing becomes extremely important. By mastering listening to sound to determine position, your hidden weapons won't have blind spots when launched, and they'll be more concealed. Listening to sound to determine position is the foundation of practicing hidden weapons, not really a secret. At that moment, Tang San didn't hesitate to explain this training method, simply to the formidable husband and wife standing beside him. He also briefly explained a bit about practicing hidden weapons. At first, Meng Yiran had some resentment in her heart, but as Tang San spoke, she nodded repeatedly. In less than the time it takes for a pot of tea to brew, Tang San's words gave her a whole new understanding of the world of hidden weapons. If you can master these, hidden weapons will greatly assist you. Tang San ended his teaching to Meng Yiran with the briefest of words. It wasn't that he was being conceited, rather, he was eager to absorb the man-faced demon spider soul ring and go find Xiao Wu. At this moment, his physical and spiritual strength had recovered a bit, and he felt that he could absorb the soul ring now. The Dragon Duke and Snake Grandmother had been watching Tang San teach Meng Yiran without interruption. Now, the Dragon Duke, who had been somewhat frustrated because of Zhao Wuji's words, had a smile on his face. Meng Yiran looked deeply at Tang San. "I won't thank you." Tang San smiled faintly. "I didn't expect you to." With a chuckle, Meng Yiran laughed. She was already beautiful, and her smile was as charming as the thawing of spring. "You're only 12? You're quite mature for your age. Come, let your sister give you a kiss." As she spoke, she suddenly leaned over and kissed Tang San on the cheek. Tang San obviously didn't expect Meng Yiran to attack him like this. He only felt a warm sensation on his face. Not only did his face turn red, but even his ears were flushed red. Meng Yiran looked at his embarrassed appearance with a lot of pleasure. She said seriously, "You don't get any other ideas. This is me repaying the bet. I'm not one to go back on my word. Well, we're leaving. You should hurry up and absorb that soul ring. If I encounter you causing trouble again, while hunting soul beasts next time, humph." As she spoke, she even made a threatening gesture with her fist towards Tang San. Of course, this was obviously not intimidating. The Dragon Duke and Snake Grandmother exchanged a smile, nodded to Zhao Wuji, and then took their granddaughter away. They still needed to quickly find another suitable soul beast for their granddaughter, and then leave this place as soon as possible. They couldn't afford to ignore the threat of the Titan giant ape. Oscar approached Tang San with a smirk. "Saner, feeling good?" Tang San gave him a helpless glance. Feeling good about what?" "Give me another sausage to recover." Oscar laughed heartily. "I've got a big sausage." Under the influence of the lecherous soul curse, he directly handed a sausage to Tang San. Turning to look at the corpse of the man-faced demon spider, at this moment, a dense purple-black light had already condensed above the corpse of the man-faced demon spider, which was the best time to absorb it. Looking at it, Tang San's relaxed expression tightened again. He always remembered that Xiao Wu was still waiting for his rescue. After eating the sausage, he sat down next to the man-faced demon spider. "Thank you all for your help." Zhao Wuji nodded to Tang San, waved his hand, and the students surrounded Tang San in the center, guarding him carefully. With their protection, Tang San no longer needed to worry about the threat posed by ordinary soul beasts, and could finally focus on absorbing the powerful soul ring in front of him. Raising his right hand, the blue silvergrass martial soul brought forth a faint blue light in Tang San's palm. Taking a deep breath, Tang San issued a summon towards the soul ring of the man-faced demon spider. The dense purple-black light, like it had been waiting for a long time to find an outlet, instantly rushed towards Tang San like a flood. Seeing the dense purple-black light instantly envelop Tang San's body, Zhao Wuji couldn't help but be surprised by the powerful soul power fluctuations. How strong must the cultivation of this man-faced demon spider be? As the person involved, Tang San felt even more clearly. He only felt a huge surge of heat rushing into his body, and before he could react, that heat had already begun to burn his body like scorching flames. The arrogance of the man-faced demon spider itself determined the ferocity of the soul ring it formed. The powerful breath forcibly began to transform Tang San's body as soon as it entered him. Although the energy contained in the soul ring was unconscious, it was also not something Tang San's consciousness could control. Under the powerful soul power fluctuations, Tang San only felt that his body was about to burst, and the intense pain made him directly spit out a mouthful of blood. Everyone around him was shocked at the same time. They had all absorbed soul rings before, but this was the first time they had encountered such a situation. Their gazes couldn't help but turn to Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji said in a deep voice, The soul ring of this man-faced demon spider is too domineering, making it difficult to absorb. Now we can only rely on him. Absorbing the soul ring cannot rely on any external force. Otherwise, it will only have the opposite effect. We can only trust that Tang San can persevere and make it his own. What Zhao Wuji didn't say was that the more difficult it was to absorb the soul ring, the greater the effect it would bring. After all, the energy contained in it was immense, and the resulting soul skills would naturally be extremely powerful. Meng Shu and Meng Yiran continued on in another direction, towards the Star Do Great Forest. Meng Shu had been observing his granddaughter. Since leaving Shrek Academy with the group, Meng Yiran had been silent, as if contemplating something. Yiran, what are you thinking about? Meng Shu asked. Meng Yiran was startled by her grandmother's voice and snapped out of her thoughts. I was thinking about what Tang San said. Grandma, do you think I should use that bone-penetrating needle in the future? Grandma chuckled and said, if you think it's good, then use it. Although the appearance of that needle is a bit special, it's not difficult to find someone to make it. It's the first time I've seen such a long needle. It's actually 5 inches long. The Dragon Duke suddenly said, that child Tang San is very good, not only talented, but also without any arrogance. He's a rare talent. It's a pity he won't join our family. Otherwise, in less than 20 years, he would definitely be able to lead the family to a new level. Grandma sighed lightly. A golden carp is not a fish in a pond. Once it encounters wind and clouds, it becomes a dragon. Not only Tang San, but I think those other children are also very good. I don't know where Zhao Wuji found such outstanding children. According to Zhao Wuji, they seem to be from some Shrek Academy. How come I've never heard of this academy's students before? Meng Shu said, these things are not important. Although the others look good, I think they still have some gaps compared to Tang San. Yiran, what do you think of Tang San? Meng Yiran was stunned for a moment, her eyes flickered, and in the end, she couldn't help but say, he's just a mature child. Thinking of Tang San's serious expression, she couldn't help but add, he doesn't look like he's only 12. Meng Shu smiled, I'm asking for your feelings about him. Meng Yiran was already 16 years old, the age when she was just beginning to understand love, and she was extremely intelligent. She vaguely understood the meaning behind her grandfather's words. Grandpa, are you trying to stir up trouble? I'm more than 3 years older than him, how is it possible? She had just turned 16, indeed 3 years older than Tang San. Meng Shu chuckled, age is not a problem. A woman being older by 3 years is like holding a gold brick. Meng Yiran blushed, grandpa, you. Meng Shu said, what's wrong? Don't want to? Or do you think he looks too ordinary? Meng Yiran snorted, he's originally just average looking. You can tell from his clothes that he's not from a prestigious family. I really don't understand why he can train so quickly with that blue silver grass trash martial soul. Meng Shu frowned, girl, when did you become so judgmental? That child Tang San is not as simple as you think. How do you know he's not from a prestigious family? Blue silver grass? Have you ever seen a soul master who can train blue silver grass to over level 30? And what about his mention of hidden weapons? These, added together, are enough to prove that this child is extraordinary. Seeing that her grandfather was getting angry, Meng Yiran couldn't help but stick out her tongue. Grandpa, don't be angry. Let's talk about future things later. We'll never know if we'll see him again in the future. Meng Shu sighed lightly. The fortunes of children belong to the children themselves. Your own affairs, it's up to you to decide. However, let me remind you, don't let opportunities slip away. There are some chances in life that only come once, or are very short-lived. If you don't seize them, you will lose a lot. Grandma held Meng Shu's hand. All right, old man. Don't be so serious. Let's help Iran find a suitable third soul ring first. We'll talk about other things later. After we go back, let's inquire about this Shrek Academy. At Shrek Academy, everyone's gaze at this moment became very solemn. Sitting cross-legged in the center of the encirclement, Tang San could no longer be seen. His whole person was shrouded in a layer of light red mist. The red color in the mist wasn't the light of soul power, but Tang San's blood. Not long ago, with the violent soul power fluctuations on his body, Tang San's skin began to exude a layer of fine blood beads, which, as the soul power evaporated into the air, turned into this light red mist. Tang San's eyebrows furrowed tightly, his lips pursed tightly, and his body was constantly twitching. In addition to the blood beads oozing from his skin, one could imagine the intensity of the pain he was enduring. In the midst of the mist, there were occasional cracking sounds of bones, each time sending a thrilling sensation to the surrounding people. However, the third soul ring that should have appeared with the absorption never materialized. This proved that Tang San had not yet fully absorbed the man-faced demon spider soul ring. Dai Mubai worriedly whispered to Zhao Wuji, Teacher Zhao, if this continues, Tang San may be in danger. Zhao Wuji also frowned, I know. But we can't interrupt him now. Otherwise, the consequences will be even more serious. We can only rely on his willpower now. The energy infused in this soul ring should be something he can absorb, but his physical condition is not optimal, and the energy of the man-faced demon spider soul ring itself is too overbearing, which is why this situation has arisen. I hope Tang San can withstand this test. Otherwise, only Tang San knew the pain he was enduring at this moment. In the face of the energy from the man-faced demon spider soul ring, he felt as if his whole body was being cut by countless blades. Every part of his body was in pain, and the formidable energy kept tearing at his body, keeping him in extreme agony. In fact, Zhao Wuji was slightly mistaken. Due to the rarity of man-faced demons, even a grandmaster would find it difficult to determine their true cultivation range. The maximum soul power absorption of a soul master's third soul ring could reach over 1,700 years. It wasn't until the fourth soul ring that one could absorb soul rings of around 5,000 years of cultivation. The upper limit of absorption for the fifth soul ring was around 12,000 years. For the sixth soul ring, it was 20,000 years. The seventh soul ring ranged from 30,000 to 50,000 years, depending on the soul master's attributes. By the time of the eighth soul ring, it became possible to absorb soul rings of over 50,000 years. Only with the last ninth soul ring was it possible to absorb soul beasts of 100,000 years. Of course, among known soul masters, no one had been able to absorb a 100,000-year soul beast as their final soul ring. The man-faced demon spider Tang San killed already had a true cultivation of over 2,000 years, albeit just surpassing it. However, this already exceeded the limit of what a soul master's third soul ring could absorb. This was also why, even though Grandmaster knew the man-faced demon spider would greatly benefit Tang San's blue silvergrass, he wasn't fully supportive of him seeking this type of soul ring. During the battle, Tang San had simply estimated the strength of the man-faced demon spider, but he overlooked one thing. That man-faced demon spider had already been injured by the Dragon Duke Meng Shu. Meng Shu's strength was formidable, and the injuries he inflicted on the man-faced demon spider would naturally greatly affect its strength. Tang San's situation was different from most soul masters because he had a twin martial soul, and he practiced the Xian Tian record recorded in the Tang sect. His body was much stronger than an ordinary person's. Normally, if it were an ordinary soul beast, absorbing a third soul ring of around 2,000 years wouldn't be a big problem for him. After all, he had the advantage of a strong body. However, this man-faced demon spider was no ordinary soul beast. Its own ferocity and strength made the soul ring extremely domineering. Coupled with Tang San not being in his best condition, he fell into a huge crisis. If Tang San's current situation could be calculated, then his ultimate outcome would only be one. His body couldn't withstand the energy impact of the man-faced demon spider, leading to his death from bursting. After all, that energy had already exceeded the range he could absorb. However, some things were incalculable, such as willpower and belief. When a person's willpower reached a certain level of firmness, or possessed an incomparable belief, miracles often occurred. At this moment, although Tang San was enduring unparalleled pain, deep in his heart, he had an extremely firm belief. That was to rescue Xiao Wu. With this belief, he stubbornly withstood wave after wave of pain. Even though blood was already seeping from his body, he still resisted the domineering energy of the man-faced demon spider soul ring. From a certain perspective, Xiao Wu being captured by the Titan giant ape inadvertently helped Tang San. Although surpassing the limit to absorb a soul ring would bring great danger, once successful, the benefits would be equally huge. The formidable energy fluctuations continued to rise, and the blood mist around Tang San's body became more and more apparent. In the mist, there was even a faint smell of blood. It was unclear whether it was impurities from Tang San's body or toxins from the man-faced demon spider. Just as everyone was anxiously waiting like ants on a hot pot, suddenly, a light footstep caught Zhao Wuji's attention. Who? Zhao Wuji's cold gaze looked in a certain direction, and his soul power suddenly gathered. Tang San had reached the most critical moment, and he would not allow anyone or any soul beast to disturb him. Teacher Zhao. A slender figure ran out from the woods. When she saw her, not only did Zhao Wuji freeze, but everyone else also couldn't help but stare. The one who suddenly ran out of the woods was actually Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu looked somewhat disheveled at the moment, with her clothes torn in several places. The neat scorpion braid on her head also became messy, but her complexion was very rosy, seemingly more mature than before. Xiao Wu, you're not dead? Oscar blurted out the words before realizing they sounded harsh. Xiao Wu retorted impatiently, were you hoping for my death? What's going on? This mist. Oh my god, what's wrong with little San? Seeing Tang San in the light red mist, Xiao Wu's heart tightened instantly, and she hurriedly ran over. She had been sent over by the Titan giant ape. Although the Star Do Great Forest was vast, for the Forest King like the Titan giant ape, finding the group from Shrek Academy here was not difficult at all. All the soul beasts could be his eyes. After sending Xiao Wu nearby, the Titan giant ape quietly left. Don't disturb him. He's absorbing his third soul ring. Zhao Wuji hastily stopped Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu exclaimed, but how could absorbing the third soul ring turn out like this? Turning her head to look at the man-faced demon spider corpse beside her, she somewhat understood. It's the man-faced demon spider, not good. The cultivation of this man-faced demon spider exceeds 2,000 years. Grandmaster said that the limit of a soul master's third soul ring is over 1,760 years. Little San. Zhao Wuji was taken aback. How do you know that this man-faced demon spider has a cultivation of over 2,000 years? Only then did Xiao Wu realize her mistake. The cultivation of a man-faced demon spider can be judged from the length of its legs. Look, the legs of this man-faced demon spider are already over 3 meters long, which is a sign of cultivation exceeding 2,000 years. Don't you know that the cultivation of a 1,000-year soul beast will have some obvious changes for every 1,000 years it surpasses? Just like a 100-year soul beast will change according to its 100-year cultivation, and a 10,000-year soul beast will change according to its 10,000-year cultivation. Zhao Wuji was somewhat astonished. I'm not very clear about this. I didn't expect you to know so much about soul beasts. Xiao Wu said, it's all taught by Grandmaster. Blaming her slip of the tongue on Grandmaster, who had the most research on martial souls, was obviously a good way to go. Indeed, After hearing her words, everyone's doubts were dispelled. Zhao Wuji sighed. Tang San has already started absorbing this soul ring. There's no possibility of stopping now. We can only hope that he can withstand the energy impact from the soul ring and pass this trial. Right, Xiao Wu, how did you escape from the Titan giant ape's clutches? Tell us what happened. Of course, she couldn't tell everyone that it was because the Titan giant ape sensed her aura, that it specifically came to take her away. Before coming back, Xiao Wu had already thought of an explanation. While anxiously looking at Tang San in front of her, she explained, "Yeah, I don't know what happened either. That Titan giant ape grabbed me and ran into the forest. It didn't run far before it seemed to hear a roaring sound like that of a bull coming from one direction. The Titan giant ape seemed very nervous, glanced at me, threw me aside, and then ran away." A bull's sound? What bull could make the Titan giant ape nervous? What happened next? Zhao Wuji couldn't help but furrow his brows. A fearful light flashed in Xiao Wu's eyes. The Titan giant ape threw me down, and before leaving, it let out a roar. I just felt dizzy and passed out. When I woke up, it was already gone. The scene at the time was terrifying. There were at least dozens of soul beasts around me knocked unconscious, and the weaker ones were even bleeding from their noses and mouths, dead. I don't know if it was lucky or unlucky, but I suddenly found that my soul power had broken through to level 30. What? You're already level 32? Who's older between you and Tang San? Zhao Wuji was taken aback. I'm a few months younger than him. Xiao Wu said. Zhao Wuji was speechless for a moment. The record Tang San had just created had already been changed. However, what Xiao Wu said next widened his eyes even more. Xiao Wu said, I was very scared at the time. Maybe my soul power also increased because the external stimulation was too great. I happened to find a 1,000-year soul beast that suited me while in a coma, so I hunted it and obtained my third soul ring. Can it be done like this? Zhu Zhuqing stared at Xiao Wu, showing a look of seeing a blind cat catching a dead mouse. Xiao Wu showed a grateful expression. It's considered lucky for me. I thought I was done for. In order not to be attacked by the surrounding soul beasts when they woke up, I had to kill all the soul beasts that were knocked unconscious around me. After absorbing the third soul ring, my physical strength recovered, and then I walked back according to my memory. I heard sounds coming from here earlier and came over, finally finding you all.